Teresa has been through rough times. But when crisis strikes, she answers the call to action. Success or failure depend on this speech.
Today, we face new problems that are much greater than those we faced so long ago when it all began. You built our homes from seats and curtains back then, and you face the cold breeze blowing today. Just like I built them, just like I feel the breeze now. We have stood up to the ground and created this place, and nothing, not even the aluminum jaws of this plane, can take that away from us. We must face this crisis united. In this regard, I have already spoken to the nameless and the dead, and I can proudly announce that we agreed to stand in this together. You all know that I, like many others, have advocated for a collective care system for them. But today, we have agreed to make them a part of the workforce.
Tom, such as many other passengers, is currently an enthusiastic supporter of Teresa and her crisis management.
You gotta look at it from a logical standpoint. They really have no other choice. There's hydroponics, jacket sewing, cleaning and repairing the games we made. There's also a thing you don't have many people talking about. It's the question of participatory action. If you think about it, which not many people do, there's been a large amount of unused potential in the nameless and the dead.
Some things are just not as simple as they first might seem. Teresa is unaware that it's not her who's performing a power grab. Rather, she's being involuntarily controlled. Her new leadership is a fragile facade built out of necessity. Just as the community gets accustomed to the new conditions, the situation unexpectedly changes again.
You see what I see?
Did you tell Teresa? Let's go.
But what if somebody else finds it? It's gonna be gone by the time we're back.
Then lock the door and wait here. I'm gonna get her.
When Samantha finally gets to tell Teresa what she and Harry saw in the kitchen, her first reaction is going to be as brief and confident as always. She will promise an official statement in her evening speech. But as the doors behind Samantha close, she's going to panic. Suddenly, it's going to become painfully obvious that she's not the one sitting behind the wheel. Judging by Teresa's character, she's going to lock herself in with her assistant to come up with some sort of plan. They'll stay in her chambers, going through the aircraft logs, trying to find what could have caused the unexpected situation. All the while, the passengers nervously wait outside for her evening address, which she won't ever deliver. Sometimes, even seemingly good news can become bad news.
It's locked. Looking for something?
None of your business.
According to this schedule, I'm the one cooking during this cycle. You, on the other hand, should...
And you haven't noticed anything out of the ordinary? In the fridge?
I have. That's why it stays locked before I tell Teresa.
If you know what we know,
Harry,
why didn't you tell her?
this is out of her competence.
The passengers are going to interpret Teresa's absence the way a crowd usually does. The fact that the contents of the fridge disappeared as soon as Samantha locked the door to the kitchen isn't going to make it any better. When they'll inevitably find that out, words will no longer suffice.
Look, this isn't something that just happens. None of us has seen an airline meal for more than 200 flyovers. You've seen the hydroponics. It's barely enough. And suddenly, a full fridge of fancy first-class meals appears? You don't think that's a little weird?
I didn't say I don't think it's weird.
We have searched every nook and cranny of this airplane. Nobody ever found anything. This has nothing to do with her. I'm telling you, Samantha won't come with any solid information from Teresa. Matter of fact, we don't need Teresa anymore.
The power vacuum is going to get too tempting to ignore, considering Suzanne's position and persuasiveness. Either way, unlike Teresa, she won't be selected. Her rule is going to be just a transition period, as well as the rule of Barbara, Tom, Gregory, and the others who will try and grab the power for themselves. For 645 flyovers, by trial and error, every one of them will try and figure out why the fridge suddenly and so briefly filled itself moments ago. Or rather, how to make it come back and stay this time.
Give me the airplane logs. There must be something we did.
What did you tell her?
That I'm gonna address in the situation in my evening speech.
And are you?
What would I tell them? I want the prosperity to come back, of course, but I have no clue why it's giving us the food again.
In the end, it won't seem hard to follow the aircraft's terms and conditions. Today, there will be a massive backlash if someone tried to get the nameless and the dead to their former position in limbo, just letting them sit in their waiting room until the aircraft lands. But I'm sure this decision is going to be made much easier by a 645 flyover long conflict. That's what they'll just have to accept is the only way towards ending the crisis. Again, I was there, as the dust was settling, waiting perhaps. I wanted to ask the passengers if they would like to share some of their thoughts about the newly emerged situation. They always did.
I mean, we were quite desperate in the end. It was like, what, 150 flyovers ago? We actually started doing like 3 to 4 changes at a time just to test them out. And then one day, it just all came back. Who knows what got the airplane working again, if anything, but it's been working ever since.
I think what's really important is that we're in this together again. Of course, who knows what's gonna happen next, but I think one thing is for certain. We are one.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there have been changes, but none of them really that dramatic. Certainly not compared to what chaos was here before. We have Theresa now, making sure everything is somehow systemic and that nobody does anything bad that would screw us up again. I think that's a good progress, but who knows?
Once again, prosperity was back. The passengers were skeptical at first. You can hear that in the recording. They never figured out what really caused all those changes, so you can understand their skepticism. It obviously compromised the maintenance of stability, and as a result, things had to be changed and shuffled many more times after that.